Coach, how you doing, Coach? Coach, I'll die for you, Coach. I just want you to believe in me. I just want you to believe in me. Let's go to the Lions.
And they basically told me if I'm there, it's a possibility they're going to take me. So I had my phone right next to me, ringer on all the way up. Kept checking it, I was nervous, but when I got that call, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, the feeling.
The Lions take one of my favorite players in this draft class, Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas. I'm giving this an A+. Almost 6'4", 214 pounds, ran a 4.43 at the combine.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live, morning show edition, Tuesday morning edition. And you know what? Almost had to go with a different headline because there was some information I got maybe like 30 minutes ago about another potential Brad Holmes trade where apparently the Lions are trying to trade back up into the first round from the second round. We'll get into that maybe tomorrow or some other time. I got to get some more information on it. But hey, as you can see from today's thumbnail, we're going to break down a real question for all Lions fans. That yes, could this be true for the Detroit Lions? Could the Detroit Lions offense actually be better this year under first-year offensive coordinator, at least this time with the Detroit Lions, John Morton, than what the team had with Ben Johnson? We're going to analyze that. We're going to break it on down, see what the Dew crew has to say, because I do believe there's some evidence. While Ben Johnson, phenomenal OC, et cetera, I do think there's some evidence out there that the Detroit Lions offense could actually be more of a challenge, a pain in the butt to have to defend this year. We'll break it on down to the main topic of the show. Real quick before we get to the main topic of the show, before we get into the 5 glorious headlines now and everything in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march to the top, to the deluxe apartment in the sky, to 13,700 subs, and we are 22 subs away from that. So if you can help out with that, that would be most awesome of you, and welcome. Also, if you have a half second of time, doesn't cost you even a dang dime, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. We try to get every episode of the show between 2, 3, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can assist with that, hey, I would be a happy individual. As you probably know, if you watch YouTube for any length of time, every thumbs up, like, etc., subscriber you get, it just helps the channel grow and get out to more and more people that haven't discovered the channel. So thank you for that if you can assist with that. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Give me a call, have a conversation, see what I can do to have over 30 years of experience in the real estate game to work on your behalf, save you some time, save you some money, save you some hassles, all of the above. Go ahead and reach out to me. Again, you see the number right here, 269-998-2384. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's get this show on over to the first segment, which, as you know, is 5 headlines now. And don't forget, it is officially, now that we're past the draft, it is officially the slowest time in the NFL for basically the next 2 months for the Detroit Lions. Yes, we have the schedule release coming out in about a week, but after that, we get in a little bit of a crawl other than some OTAs until we get into July. This year, it will be a little bit, I guess, shorter of an off season before the Lions by about 2 or 3 weeks, since they will start the preseason earlier than any other team other than one. As you guys all know, we're going to have an additional preseason game with a Hall of Fame game. All right, but enough of the jibber jabber. 5 headlines now. Lions are predicted to move on from Levi Onwuzurike just a couple months after he signed him. Athlon Sports, story by John Vicario. I'm going to say this. I don't agree with this assessment. Doesn't mean it couldn't be right. Doesn't mean there couldn't be some validity to it. Johnny Vicario has covered the Detroit Lions for a gajillion years. And yes, a long time. He is predicting that the Lions could move on from either Roy Lopez or Levi Onwuzurike, just because, as we all know it, there are so many quality defensive tackles on this team, it makes you wonder if part of the Lions' game plan is to move on from one or two of them or move them to the big end, whatever it is. Onwuzurike, we all get his story, but for those who don't know, when he was drafted, he was considered the best defensive tackle prospect in that year's draft. He was expected to be a first-round pick, but then some back issues emerged for him. As you guys probably know, he had to move on to have a spinal fusion, which, hey, the fact he's even playing in the NFL after having that done, kudos to him. Kudos for him for powering through all those difficulties, and you can see why the Lions would want to draft him. Somebody with that kind of, mantra, that kind of desire, passion. You got to have passion to still play football, especially at a high-impact position like defensive tackle with your back being fused like that, but he's done all that. Now, could John Morton's question, I guess, or statement be correct? Could the Lions, because of the gluttony of talent they have in Levi Onwuzurike, could they move off from when the 53-man roster cut down happens in about 3.5 months from now, 4 months from now, whatever it is? Yeah, I would think no. I thought Levi played dang well, especially the last 6 or so weeks of the regular season last year, and even in the playoff game, to be fair. But as we know, you can't keep everybody. If you had to go through it right now and say who is probably safe at the defensive tackle spot, I'll let you guys debate that. Yes, I'm going to say Tyreek Williams is probably safe since he was just drafted. But outside that, could DJ Reader be on the chopping block? We all get it. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Ali McNeil's not going anywhere. He's injured, and he's not going to be back till probably November, but I guess we'll wait and see. Beyond that, Roy Lopez, 1 year contract. Levi Onwuzurike, 1 year contract. I think Adams has 1 year left on his contract. And maybe there's somebody else I'm not even considering. We got Mekhi Wingo. He is also going to be a defensive tackle. John Vaccario goes through this story, details the reason why he thinks Levi Onwuzurike could be a cut candidate, whether it's before training camp or during training camp. Wait and see. But again, I want to reiterate, I don't personally believe he's going to be cut. I think he's too dang good, and I think he is a Lion through and through. We'll see what shakes out, though. But it does bring up an interesting question. Just with the depth of this team, and we were talking about it, last week, and then, it seems like every episode we at least mention it. This should be the deepest Lions team any of us have realistically lived to see, unless you want to go back to the, let's say, 1950s when they won championships all the time. There are going to be probably a lot of real good players who will no longer be Detroit Lions when we get to week 1 of the NFL season. Doesn't mean they couldn't land on the practice squad, but I do think it's something we're all going to have some grips with, probably face a reality check, that there will be some dang good Lions who will soon be former Detroit Lions. I personally just don't think it's going to be Levi Onwuzurike. All right, former Lions defender looks destined for return to Detroit. Fan side story by Winston Wilcox. There was about 5 different reporters who had the same story yesterday, and I'll just say, if you're going to guess who it is, spoiler alert, it's Zadarius Smith. I read through all of them. They all have their basic information as why they think he's going to return to Detroit. Believe that there's already a wink kind of agreement between both parties for him to return. And they all seem to agree that Zadarius Smith is probably just taking the summer off, letting his body get fully re-energized, etc., before signing with the team. A couple of them do point out that they feel like the Philadelphia Eagles, amongst a few other suitors, are in the mix trying to acquire his services. And I think we would all be less than happy if he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's be fair to Zadarius Smith. Whatever contract he gets this year is more than likely going to be his last contract, or at least he's on probably borrowed time in the NFL. He's 32, going to be 33 when the NFL season starts. Could he play for 2 or 3 more years? Yes. Is the likelihood of him playing 4 or 3 years pretty low? I would say so. So he's looking at more than likely 2 years left in the NFL. He wants to probably cash in some checks and try to secure his NFL retirement a little bit more and more. I do personally believe the Lions, and we've already heard Brad Holmes talk about this, they've made him an offer. Now, will he accept that offer? He probably understands when he accepts the offer, he's going to be responsible to reporting to OTAs, offseason stuff. That's why I do think he's going to probably wait a little bit to sign with anybody, but I do anticipate he's going to be back with the Detroit Lions. We'll see if all 5 of these different various reports are accurate in time. All right, Barry Sanders thinks Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery can lead the Lions to a Super Bowl. Story by Michael David Smith of Pro Football Talk. So they had an interview with Barry Sanders. If you want, you can probably find it on YouTube or, some other place. He talks about a number of different things and also talked about why he prefers the Detroit Lions having a split backfield with these two stars, with Gibbs and Montgomery. Hey, the NFL season is getting longer and longer. We all get that. And for the Detroit Lions, because they have the early preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, it's going to be a couple weeks longer for all the players on the team and the coaches. You don't get that a couple weeks break, that you would have gotten. And that's why they had to shorten the offseason stuff for them to adjust for that. That's going to be a long run. And as Barry Sanders put it, the NFL's changed as far as the amount of games, the amount of wear on bodies. He talks about how both of these guys play. Montgomery runs through walls all the time. Probably Gibbs surprised a lot of people in his time in the NFL so far. The fact that he doesn't run away from contact. He will run people over. So how do you keep both guys relevant and healthy at a more likely clip throughout the entire length of the season? You split the backfield carries. Check out the story. I think, we all get it. Barry Sanders is a Detroit Lion through and through, speaks well about the franchise, everything with it. He loves being an ambassador for the team and the guys on the team. Check it out. It's always good time to have a moment or two to listen to Barry, so go check it out if you have a moment or two today. All right, Giovanni Manu, the Lions' great unknown offensive lineman variable entering the second season. Lions Wire by Jeff Risdon. If you don't know who Jeff Risdon is, let me bring you up to speed. And I'm going to assume just about 99% of you guys know who he is. He covers the Lions for USA Today, Lions Wire. He's on different radio shows from time to time. I mean, he covers the Detroit Lions for a living. This is what he does and all he does for a living. Other than, I know he's got a daughter who plays basketball and volleyball in high school, et cetera, and he's always out there being a dad, supporting, et cetera. To Jeff Risdon's point, though, if you read through the story, we talked about this last year in the preseason. In my opinion, if you go back and watch what Manu did in college and then what he did in the preseason in the NFL, you could see noticeable improvement. Footwork, hip structure as far as flexibility, hand placement, and owning leverage. It wasn't huge improvements, but in my opinion, and just my opinion, doesn't have to be yours, you could see noticeable improvement out of him. We all get he's a massive human being. We all get he's an athletic freak, yada, 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 stuff you can't teach. But to Risdon's point, this guy might be further along than anybody's anticipating. He's had conversations with NFL insiders, Lions insiders, however you want to term it, that they are all saying the same thing. Giovanni Manu might be closer to ready to play now than any of us are anticipating going into year two. If the Lions hit on this guy, because if you don't know, he's like 6 foot, 8.5. He's 40 or 50 pounds, and he's athletic. He is not slow. If they hit on this kid, I think you're probably looking at a tough go for someone like Dan Skipper to make the team this year, because you can only keep so many people. Think about the earlier headline now. We were talking about Levi Onwuzurike. Could he or Roy Lopez, two guys who just re-signed with the team, actually not make the team? I think it's at least worth a conversation about it. But when it comes to Manu, think about the fact that we just got two guards in the draft. You're probably going to keep both of those guys in my anticipation, Ratledge and Frazier. Now, you think about Penei Sewell. He's not going anywhere. Taylor Decker's not going anywhere. Christian Mahogany's not going anywhere. Frank Ragnow's not going anywhere. Graham Glasgow, I guess it's a debatable topic whether or not you move on from him. Yodi, he just resigned this offseason for another deal. So somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. And yes, Dan Skipper re-signed a deal too. But could Manu have ascended so much, as Risdon is kind of alluding to, that he could knock somebody out of a roster spot? You can't put him on the practice squad because he will get posts. I think we all get that just because of his athleticism. If the Lions stick to what their norm is during the MCDC era, you're going to keep 8 or 9 offensive linemen, probably 9. Go through the list, start doing the math. They're going to have a couple people here who lose, and some of that could be because Giovanni Manu may be closer to being on the field than any of us realize. That would be an absolute win for this Lions organization. If you could put him out there, man, I don't know, maybe at one of the guard spots, maybe a tackle spot in the future, maybe it's sort of like the skipper spot where you play some tackle, you play some, tight end or fullback or whatever. He's a big, bad boy out there, and if he's got it right, then you know what? The Lions are going to be so much better for it, in my opinion. All right, if Zadarius Smith doesn't return to the Lions, here are 4 remaining edge rushers who can help Detroit in 2025. A to Z Sports, story by Mike Payton. It's a fair question to ask. If the Detroit Lions cannot reacquire the services of Zadarius Smith, do you look to bring somebody else in? We're already talking about roster issues potentially when we get into cutting down to 53 people for it. But if you feel like the Lions need more edge pressure, edge help, somebody to get up to the quarterback, here are a couple people, and we won't spend all day on it, but DeMarcus Walker, could you go out and get him? He did have a free agency meeting with the Lions in April. He did not sign at that time. He remains a free agent. He started for the Bears last 2 seasons and had okay production. If we're looking for a big perimeter guy, which would fit the Lions' mantra, opposite Hutchinson, Walker does fit that bill. Carl Lawson, again, one of the guys who did have a visit with Detroit Lions. There isn't, let's all face it, there isn't an elite pass rusher out there at this point in free agency. So there's going to be some scabs on these guys. There's a reason why somebody hasn't re-signed. There's a reason why they were cut, etc. But everyone, don't forget about Lawson. Might be the most productive of the guys on the list currently in free agency. Last year, he had 27 pressures with 6 sacks coming off the bench for the Cowboys. It's actually pretty surprising that they didn't bring him back in this report. Matthew Judon, maybe the most skilled guy still out there. Opposite, I guess you could argue Zadarius Smith. We all get it. He had a career, opposite his rookie year, a career low in 5.5 sacks. But let's keep in mind, that's because he has a torn bicep and fought through that injury. In my anticipation, if he gets healthy and he's good to go, he's about the same age as Zadarius. Could they bring him in probably on a team-friendly deal and get him on a rotational piece for that edge spot? That is possible. And the one thing he does, he gets to the quarterback. Tavarius Gibson, the youngest of the group, he's only 26-year-old. He dealt with injuries last 2 years. Sounds like a Brad Holmes sighting, if you ask me. But when he was with the Bears, he looked like a guy that could be a solid player at some point in his NFL career. At the least, he's worth an invite to camp to see what he can do because he can get to the quarterback. He's a bigger body. I don't know if the Lions will bring anybody else in. I think they're gung-ho about the guys that they have there. If Zadarius comes back, I think just because he's been with the Lions before, they probably are down with that. We'll see if the Lions do anything, though, this offseason. I won't be surprised if they bring in some camp bodies. I'm just not sure if anybody's going to supplant somebody else. I guess it bears to be the question, though. Could somebody beat out Marcus Davenport Pierce? I know you want it to happen, but the Lions seem intrinsically tied to him. Alaquin Muhammad, hey, I think we all get it. That guy, did great in a rotational capacity last year and a lot of sound depth for the team. Josh Pascal, last year of his rookie deal, but he does stop the run. He is, a prototypical mantra-type Lion player. We'll see if somebody can beat him out. And from there, Mekhi Wingo, he did play some big end last year. Could he do it some more this year? Same with Levi Onwuzurike. Whoever else you want to throw out there, I think we're going to have to face the facts that unless Zadarius comes back or injuries happen, we might just have the defensive ends we're going to roll with in the regular season. All right, with all that done, sent out of the way, man, went on with that one a little bit too long there. But, hey, let's get over to the main topic of the day. All right, Duke Crew, what say you? Let's face facts and start with this. The Detroit Lions in the last 3 years with Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator, et cetera, for the Detroit Lions, they've had one of the greatest shows the NFL's ever seen. You've been able to watch points get scored at a pace that, let's be fair, typically doesn't happen for NFL teams. How many games just last year with all the injuries we had across the board or whatever, did we score in the 30s, the 40s, high 20s? I mean, high 20s is a pretty good output for an NFL team. Remember, you're facing NFL defenses. And regularly, we got into the 30s or even 40s. Even last year, when we couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense against the Washington Commanders, we still, because the offense kept it close. And that's even with the offense shooting itself in the foot a lot. You go back the year before that, while we had a lot of young ascending talent, you could see the problems already emerging for other defensive coordinators. Now, we all get it. Ben Johnson, Benedict Johnson, whatever you want to call him, he's moved on. He's over in Chicago now. So what are some realistic expectations for the new regime for John Morton's offense? Let's also keep a footnote here and say John Morton was a part of the renaissance for the offensive systems we now enjoy in Detroit. He was a part of that first wave of coaches who came in, helped redesign the blueprint for what we're going to do when Anthony Lynn departed or was asked to step down as the offense coordinator. I guess you're splitting hairs what you want to say there. But, hey, John Morton, we all know his track record by now, but if you don't, let's walk through it. He's known as a vertical schemes coach, where Ben Johnson's probably a little bit more of a crossing schematics coach. So, having guys divide the field over the middle. If you guys remember a couple years ago, there were a couple NFL teams, including the Bears and the Green Bay Packers, that try to sit in zone, try to slow down Ben Johnson's offense, say, hey, linebackers, maybe one defensive lineman, drop into the middle of the field, eat up the spaces, slow us down. And it did for a couple weeks. John Morton, though, it would appear his system is going to be more of a vertical seam where you're going to have one or two guys on each sideline going long. That is going to put pressure, as we all probably know by now, for opposing defenses. If I've got guys on both sides going deep, both sidelines going deep, you're going to have to probably drop at least 3 defenders with them, whether it's man or zone, 2 guys going with them, and a center fielder, think Kirby Joseph. My anticipation is it's probably more often not because Jameson Williams, because Tim Patrick, because maybe Isaac Tisla or whatever. His legend seems to keep growing. You might have to put 4 people there. And I know we've talked about on the show before, but what are your expectations out of this offense? John Morton's been in the league a real long time. He's getting Jameson Williams going into his prime. St. Brown, you could say, is in his prime. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, all these guys are really hitting their prime. So here's a fair question to be asked by Lions fans. Could this offense actually be better because of the OC, the new OC, or because the players are hitting their physical peaks and primes? It's my anticipation you're going to see a lot more stressed out defenses, and it's no disrespect to Ben Johnson or what the other Lions teams did. It's just, in my opinion, you're causing a bigger, not that you didn't have it before, but you're causing a larger mathematical problem for defensive coordinators. If you're really risking the biscuit, willing to chuck it long on 70% of plays, if the right read is there for the quarterback, then that means you've got to take guys out of the box. You guys remember, because of the schemes last year, it was not uncommon to see an 8-man front trying to stop the Lions' run game. Because, again, you weren't taking as many vertical shots. You were mostly trying to dink and dunk and let the receivers, or tight end or running back, whatever, if they catch the ball, try to break a tackle or 2 and go. And there's not that there's anything wrong with that. But if you really are going to have 2 guys consistently going deep on fly patterns, streak patterns, post patterns, or whatever, you got to have guys back there to stop them. If that is true, if that holds water, how often do you think we'll see an 8-man front, unless it's like, 3rd and short or something like that? I think the vast majority of the time, you're only going to see defenses put 7 guys in the box. And if that's true, how much more effective is the running game for now Gibbs, Montgomery? Remember last year's Tampa Bay game at home, where often they would have 8, sometimes even 9 guys in the box, and we just couldn't score in the red zone for it. It's probably why we ultimately lost that game. You think about last year against the Washington Commanders, where on 3rd and 1, we drop, go empty backfield of all things and try to throw a 1-yard pass, 2-yard pass, whatever, and unfortunately it didn't happen. So do you think that what happened right there, what I just mentioned about the 3rd and 1 against the Commanders, compelled MCDC to say, hey, we need to change our systems a little bit here, because he was not a fan of that? I was on record all of last season saying I absolutely hate on 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, going empty backfield, because Jared Goff, no disrespect to the guy, but he's probably not shaking and baking crazy legs Goff and taking off for that many 1 or 2 yard gains on short distance plays, short yardage plays. So what do you think? Did MCDC turn to Ben Johnson, looked at what he did and say, how can we improve upon that? And said, John Morton or somebody like him, can we bring him on in and put pressure on the opposing defense to another degree, another level? Jameson Williams, I get the speculation that he was going to be traded this offseason. I think we also got, it was just speculation. No real big news there. But what can Jameson Williams do? He can run block, just like every other Lions wide receiver here. And you know what he can also do? He can cover ground in a hurry. He is 6'2". He can run out of the gym. He can fly out of the sky. And he is going to be opposite sideline, another Lions wide receiver, whether that's Tim Patrick, Isaac Tisla, who knows, man? I could see situations where Sam Laporta is out there, and you get them going downfield against, 3 to 4 defenders, and they can run block. I think that Lions running game might be dang tough to stop. You've heard me babble about it. You've heard me present the evidence to you, the judge and the jury, Duke Crew. Could this Lions offense actually be more dangerous next year? My initial response, without having seen it actually on the field, I think yes. I think anytime you can stress out other teams, force them more into your will, if they want to put 8 and 9 guys in the box to stop the running game, I think it's a layup drill to either Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Isaac Tisla, because you're going to leave all of them on one-on-one coverage. Think about the NFL rules nowadays. You can barely touch receivers without getting flagged. And you know what? If you got defenders who aren't as fast and got to play zone coverage or whatever and try to play over-the-top routes like that, 70% of the time, I think you're going to see a lot of flags thrown. I think you're going to see a lot of explosive plays. And I think you're going to force defense to say there is zero chance we can put 8 guys in the box and try to slow down that running game. All right. There you go. I presented the case. Now you, the jury, make your assessments of it. Let me scroll to the top of the screen. We've got about 4 minutes until Anthony from Roar Lions UK gets on over here. So let me get in as many as I can. Michael, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point, one pride. Woo! Back at you, JDC, morning all, and same to you. 11 greetings, salutations, Lions fans. Exclamation point, one day closer to resigning Darius Smith and seeing Tisla and Ahmed Hussein dominate 100%. And I'll be okay with all of them out there. Johnny L., good morning to the crew. Same to you. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Johnny Dangerously about to unload. Exclamation point. Woo! Yeah, I remember that movie. Great movie. Let's see. Johnny L., can't wait for it. Me either, man. I think it's going to be fun watching what the stress and pressure they put on the defenses. Kerry, morning, crew. Same to you. Drake, good morning. Oh, the offense is loaded, and most of the players are no longer young rookies. We should be explosive. I think so, too. I think it's just a cooperation of, hey, a new scheme. There's going to be some bumps on the road, especially the early portions of the season. But I think you are having the vast majority of these guys hit their prime. Bo, we're going to have Morton's salt of the earth offense totally grounded? Could be. And I won't be surprised because you think about the vertical schemes, the play action pass. We all get Goff's good at it. He was great with it with Ben Johnson. He was good with Sean McVay. I think if you got guys streaming down the field and, man, you run play action, that is really putting a ton of stress, again, on 3 to 4 defenders to keep up with them over the top because they know every time they go down the field, there's a chance he can chuck it long. If you do that, there's less guys and probably a lot of linebackers having to cover curl routes, etc., for running backs out of the backfield, Laporta, St. Brown, or whoever else, man. France, we need to have a cool name for this year's offense. Greatest show on turf has already been used, laughing out loud. Yes, I'll let you guys debate that question. Bo, flying high in Honolulu blue skies? I think we will. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. This team is loaded with speed, talent, and the OC needs to do is not get in the way of his players. I agree. I do feel like Ben Johnson did that in the playoff game against Washington. Yeah, there are a lot of people that question whether Ben Johnson, we all get the story by now, it's been months, Ben Johnson was checked out. I've talked about it ad nauseum on the show that MCDC clearly was not happy with some Big Ben's calls on the sidelines before the snaps. I think, man, that Jameson Williams pass that was an interception, that's going to haunt MCDC for a long, long time. It's Kerry, fight the good fight every moment, every minute, every day. I like the way you're thinking. JDC, puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Great way to start your day, right? Eddie, greetings, salutations. So who does better this year? Question mark. The offense or the defense? Yes, the offense has a lot of weapons, but our defense was number 1 before all the injuries. It's going to be a fair question. Because use last year as an example, I'm dang sure all those defenders hear all the hype, the superlative adjectives thrown at the offense year in and year out. Doesn't mean they don't want some of that sunshine too. So I do think they've got an axe to grind and will be looking to grind that axe this year. Anymore. Good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And good morning to you, my friend. Bo, with the offense, with the O-line, Goff will be slinging with too much time on his hands. Hey, I think he will, man, especially if they're as good as advertised. Hooku. Good morning, Duke Crew. One pride, exclamation point. Morton's not going to fire till he sees the whites of their eyes and has a plan, and that's not to fail. Grit wins. Yeah, 100%. I like it. Don't plan to fail, plan to win. All right, Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Heading into the gym, so I'll listen in. Hope everyone has a great day. Same to you. Have a great workout, my friend. Jess, greetings, salutations, Dooku. So how will this offense be different than Johnson's? Question mark. That's my question. In my opinion, it's going to be hard to mess this up. I would think so. I think you got a lot of talent. So like somebody else said in the comment section, just don't get in the way of the talent. Brent, good morning, everyone. Climb into the danger zone, exclamation point. Oh, yeah. Moonscar Blade, good morning. Duke Crew starting lineup, and back at you. Hookadoo, back at you, Stephanie. Have a great workout. Indeed. Clark, can't wait for us to go 5 wide receivers with Laporta being one of them. Gibbs out of the backfield. If Goff has time to throw, we will own any defense. I agree. If you can't get the Goff this year, it's going to be real hard to slow this team down on a regular basis. All right, guys, it's about that time to bring on our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. He is the host with the most. He is the man with the plan. He is Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Anthony, how's your afternoon going?
I'm doing good, Dan. Thanks. Hope you are. Sun's shining. We're in that period post-draft now where we can just chill and relax a little bit. One of my favorite times of the year, I'm not going to lie, just to recharge the batteries as you would.
Absolutely, man. We got, 3 months or something until training camp. So, yeah, time is precious, but it will go by quickly. So today's show, we're debating how good can this offense be this year under the new OC, Ben Johnson? Do you think it's going to be better, worse? How would it be different?
I think it's going to be just fine. Like, the amount of people who say, oh, Ben's gone, everything's going to fall apart. I think that's incredibly disrespectful towards the players. Like, at the end of the day, the players are the ones that make it work. There are 4 all-pros on our offense, and there's probably another 4 guys who could be all-pros. That kind of talent, it finds a way to win. It finds a way to work, despite which coordinator it might have in the building. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next iteration is going to be. And I think we can all agree that, sometimes one of Ben's flaws was that when he found an into another team, he wouldn't dig away at that. Sometimes when the run's working well, he'd still love to throw the ball, etc. Sometimes you just gotta be a little bit more clinical, and you've got to exploit the matchups a little better. So maybe John Morton will do that for us. Who knows? But I've no worry that this offense is going to die off because the talent is there. They know what they're doing. Just let them play. Let them be as good as they can be, and the points will follow.
So when you look at the Lions, you look at the offense, who do you think will be some of the biggest, I guess you'd say, beneficiaries of what we're anticipating will be the new offensive system that John Morton brings in? And who do you think could maybe see the role diminish a little bit?
I mean, it depends, really. If I'm using him, I'm expecting him to maybe see a couple of running backs on the field a little bit more. I think he'll like to lean into that old style run game. And I would like that, to be fair, given, the versatility that our guys have. Having 2 guys in causes a lot of problems for oppositions. You can leak Jameer out. Hell, Monty's a decent receiver as well when he wants to be. So I think you'll see a lot more of both running backs at the same time rather than just using them one per go. And then outside of that, you'd like to see J-Mo get involved even more going in the offense this year. You've got to exploit him and use him. The one thing Ben didn't do a lot was use his speed to stretch the field. He's your box thinner. That's why you have him there to spread a defense out. So, I'd like to see his role maybe go up there a little bit, and you'll see a lot more from J-Mo as well. So outside that, I think you'll see most of the main contributors here. It'll just be depth pieces outside that. I don't expect to see anyone on there who's not on there already who'll exponentially have a more massive role or be reduced. I think you'll use the same guys. You'll just find a different way to use them.
So there's been Jeff Risdon had a report out last night or yesterday talking about Giovanni Manu, how much he's hearing that this kid has really grown, developed or whatever in his 1 year in the league. Do you think there's some potential, maybe not a starter on this offensive line, but do you think there's some potential he knocks somebody off the 53-man roster? And if so, is that a statement that this kid could be the heir apparent for Decker or somebody else on the offensive line, maybe by year 3?
I mean, at bare minimum this year, he should have Dan Skipper's job. I mean, for me, that's the baseline, because you've got a really weird situation this year where you've got a lot of guys to carry on your offensive line now, especially at the guard position. Having Mahogany there, having Ratledge there, having Frazier there. All these guys in. you're going to struggle to make room for all these. You want to take Awashika because he's got experience. You probably want to take Jamarco Jones because he's got experience playing as a starter in there. And, Skip, whilst he's, invaluable to this team and he's great, he has a limited role as to what he can do. He's the sixth man. You bring him in occasionally as backup. If he can't do that in year 2, with all the smoke, everyone's blowing up him, because everyone's saying Manu is terrific. He's got to be the next big thing. Okay, well, show it me. If he can't be a sixth man in year 2, then I'm going to start doubting these incredulous claims you're making about him. So I think he should take Dan's spot this year, and then you can, because he should then give you more than what Dan does. And then, you can fill your depth spots out other than that. But yeah, certainly he should take his job, because we need to sort the tackle spot out. For sure, really. We've got no tackle depth at all, and Manu needs to become that for us. And, maybe that's how Sorsdal survives. He goes back to tackle. Who knows? But, yeah, Manu should take a bigger role this year.
All right, so real quick. I love that jingle, man. Anyways, so I want to ask you some burning questions here, because it came up in the 5 headlines now, a topic about could Levi Onwuzurike or Roy Lopez be a cut candidate when you get towards the 53-man roster cut down? And I think it's a fair question, because you look at all the talent of the defensive line. You just mentioned all the talent on the offensive line. I think you nailed it on the head where you said some guys might not make it this year because all the talent all around the team. If you had to say there's some potential surprise cut candidates right now, and I guess it's way too early, who do you think could be at the defensive tackle spot, the offensive line spot, or maybe another spot?
I mean, the defensive tackle is tough because Aleem's hurt. So I think any rumor of a shock cut there would be far-fetched, because obviously, you've got Reader in there, you'll have Tyleek in there this time, but you need the depth. The whole reason we've given Levi a deal here is to give him another year to see if he can be great, and then we can pay him long-term. I doubt you would mess with that. It seems counterintuitive to bringing him back in the first place. If he's that close to the chop, then
right,
you wouldn't have brought him back in the first place. So I don't think he's in danger. Gio Lopez is a 1-year option here just to get us through Aleem's injury. He might be the one when Aleem comes back. If his snap usage isn't high, if he's not really doing a great deal on the team, then I would say that he might be a candidate for cut. But up to now, I think that he tackles are safe. I think you would even keep Broderick in that period as well, because at least give Broderick till Aleem's back. If he's still doing nothing by the time Aleem's back, which is halfway, 3/4 of the way through the season, the experiment's over, it's dead. You can get rid of him there at that point. On the offensive line, I mean, Sorsdal's the one in ultimate danger right now, unless they move him back to tackle, because we don't really, look how bad our tackle options are. We've got nothing after Skip. Decker and Sewell. You've got Manu, who's still a very raw development project. Skip, who's limited. Sorsdal, who they've tried to kick inside. Jamarco Jones, who's just not really played for us. We got nothing at tackle. So I would like to try and keep Sorsdal maybe a little bit longer, but he could be on the chop block. Skip could be if they bring somebody else in. This is all dependent on free agent. I would be shocked if they don't bring a free agent tackle in, or trade for somebody or something before the season starts. It's just too thin a group to have to go into a Super Bowl season, and we've been very lucky with Sewell and Decker's health. Outside trade cut candidates other than that, it depends with the receivers. If Tesla does really well in training camp and performs well, we'll know Khalif Raymond's not going to be here next year. He's gone, he's done. That's why they've bought his contract up to this season. If you feel comfortable enough bringing Tesla in and letting him take that role on for a year, maybe Raymond could be in the cut category as well, because you've got some potential returners in the books who take his job away. But I don't think there's anything shocking I'm expecting to see cut-wise at this moment in time. There's just a few too many injuries lingering into next season that would prevent it for me.
We all seem to think, or at least the vast majority of fans seem to have believed that this year the Detroit Lions team as a whole is going to be very, very deep. Across the board, every spot, there's going to be competition, for people to make the 53-man roster. If you had to say right now, there's one thing that worries you going into next season about this team, what would that be?
The edge room and the tackle room. They're both concerns to me because they lack depth. They lack quality depth. And, you know, again, we've gotten so lucky with our offensive line being, for the vast part, healthy over the years. There's going to come a time when that's not the case. And we need to have the guys ready. Now, on the interior, I've got no worries whatsoever at this moment in time. We'll be fine. But if one of the two tackles goes down, we're in a lot of bother. So right. I'm concerned about that right now. I want someone senior brought in. Even if it is Jamarco Jones makes the roster, it's bare in minimum, but I would like investment in there, certainly. And then the edge room is still, you know, how is Hutch going to be after his injury? I'm not taking him. That video stuff is malarkey. Like, dude's still a long way away from starting yet. But, you know, Hassanin, for everyone who is, like, bigging him up and everything, that's great. Love it. But he's a 6th round pick. We cannot go into this season with the expectation that he's just going to fix that other hole on there. Is Davenport going to stay healthy? All these other guys here have proven to be nothing more than average. And, you know, we're going to need someone to hold up that edge on the other side until we see any difference. So it's the tackle position and the edge position that is still a worry for me at this moment in time. We just need to flesh out the depth, and we need to find that second starter at edge, really. If we can do that before the season starts, then overall, I'm not really concerned about this team. I think we're doing well everywhere else. I think the depth is pretty good. I think we're ready to go. We're just a couple of spots away as far as I'm concerned.
We hear tons of reports from all sorts of different reporters, national media, whatever, that, you know, Brad Holmes is gone on record saying he's made Zadarius Smith an offer to come back, or his representation offer to come back. We also know that he hasn't signed. Do you think eventually, because we get the questions every morning on the show, is Zadarius going to come back? When's he going to come back? Do you think he comes back, or do you think the team looks to re-sign or sign somebody else, a veteran edge presence?
I think you always have to have backup plans in case it doesn't work. I mean, it sounds very much at the moment that, you know, he wants more money, which, you know, we've just cut him. So right. I don't blame Zadarius Smith one bit if he decides not to come back here. We've told him you're not worth that money. So I would expect him to go and explore every opportunity before he comes back to us. I would never begrudge someone who gets cut by us not coming back. I think they would still be in the market for someone. I mean, there's still a few guys out there, as mentioned. You've got your Judons and the likes out there who you can bring in. Hell, we've got enough run stuff in edges who can work. We need someone who can pass rush. So even if we just get a pass rush specialist who's a veteran, I wouldn't mind that. You know, at least we'll get more pressure on the quarterback at that point. But I think they'll have every option in the book at the minute. They're probably ideally going to want Zadarius to come back because he's played here. He's familiar with the scheme. They like what he's about. Obviously, you know, they traded for him, so they do want him here. I think they will give him every opportunity, but once the others start going, once the free agent market picks up again, then the hand might be forced. And I think they might have a secondary plan in place just in case.
So we talked about potential differences between the new OC and Ben Johnson, who departed. What do you think with Kelvin Shepherd? Do you think he makes any subtle adjustments? Do you have any kind of ideas what he might do differently than Aaron Glenn?
I mean, with him, I hope he's just smarter. Again, you work situationally. So many times Aaron Glenn loved to blitz, but the blitz has never really got home. You've got to try and work out your fronts a little bit. You've got to do something a bit different with your pass rush because it's just not been good enough. Now, whether that's working from a 3-man front more often and a 4-man front, because now you've brought Barnes back, Hutch can play outside linebacker, you've got 3 big nasty guys at D tackle when Aleem's back anyhow, but you've got a pure nose in Gio Lopez until he is, so you can still use Reader and Tyleek or whoever you want in that system. You've got to get more creative getting to the quarterback whilst maintaining your run defense. But I don't worry about the run defense of this team. It's always been traditionally very good. But he needs to put more emphasis on bringing the passer down a bit more, because that ultimately is what cost us last year. It's ultimately what cost us the year before, and it's ultimately going to keep costing us until we can figure a way around it and not just relying on Hutch all the time. You've got to scheme guys open, right? Get your linebackers involved a bit more. Use Branch more. Branch those to blitz, you know, use these guys to your advantage. That's what I want to see different from him. More creativity in getting to the passer.
Last one I got for you. Lions, hey, they're a little, I guess you say thin at one position, at least in my opinion, and that's the safety position. We get the 2 starters are just dang good, but backing them up. Do you think we try to bring anybody else in, or do you think some of these 50 gajillion cornerbacks we've signed get moved over to the safety depth chart?
I mean, you can always do that. I mean, ideally, you don't want to. I mean, we've still got good depth guys like Lawrence Strickland's played in this team, and he's got experience, been here. We've had him here for plenty of time. I do agree. We probably do need a third guy in the room. The trouble is, a lot of the guys on the market are starters, and you don't really want to mess with your starters per se. You're trying to find someone who can be a backup, but can also play to start a level, which is very difficult, especially with the amount of money we've got to spend, which is not much. So you're probably going to have to look at maybe moving someone, or just showing up your looks a little bit, or praying to God that Dan Jackson comes good. But again, I see everyone blowing him up, going, "Oh, he's amazing. This is going to be the next coming." It's like, just hold your horses a little bit. Like, these guys are down there for a reason. You can't expect them to come in and be that level right away. I would like to see one more bought in, but you look at the market and there's very few who fit what we need, as in not starter, but can be good enough to be one, who are in our budget.
Okay. Well, as always, Ant, I want to thank you for coming on over to the show, giving us your expert opinion and wisdom. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you and your awesome work and how to support you in the channel.
I appreciate it, Dan, as always. Yeah, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond who love to chat Lions ball. So if you want to come and have a chat about the Lions and hear about them from a British perspective, you know where to find us at Roar of the Lions UK. You want to see me for a little bit? I'm on my little annual post-draft break at the minute, but I'll be back there soon enough. We talk college ball as well, so if you like talking college football, come check that out as well. But yeah, just remains me to thank you, Dan, Dew Crew, as always. Hope you all have a great week. And yeah, just into that part of the year now where things go a little bit quiet.
It does, man. The next 2 months content creating a daily show, hey, it'll put me to my test, man. Especially with the 5 headlines now. It will get a little thin. But all right, Anthony, thank you as always for jumping in on a Tuesday, giving us your insights and thoughts. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for being a part of the Dew Crew.
I appreciate you as always, Dan. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
We'll see you, my friend. All right, let's get back over to the comments section here. James, hope that we can draft another quarterback next year as a replacement for Jared Goff. I'm not convinced that he can take this team to the promised land. We'll see what they do. I'm really going to be interested to see what happens with Hendon Hooker in training camp, the preseason games. I want to see if he continues to evolve. So we'll wait and see. Kerry, Frank the Tank agreed. Frank Tank, Ben Johnson got you arrogant. There you go. Yeah, it might be true with him. 100% true. Let's see, Bo. Thanks, Anthony. Cute little guys they are. Very good. Very good. Silver. Johnny Gas Sports. Good point on David Shaw. There, yes, a very good point. I did see that in the comment section. Pierce, does Manu know how to not report eligible? We'll find out. Hopefully they taught him that. Pierce, one other cut candidate I have. I guess I missed that in the comment section, so I'll have to see what that was. Kerry, wish Ben best of luck with toilet seats. There you go. 100%. Hopefully he's sitting on the seats when we play. Hookadoo, Anthony, you have Sonic the Hedgehog living near you. Get Gibbs' autograph for me, please. Laughing out loud. Hopefully he can. Benjamin, potential trades are just that. Could have been, should have been, just wasn't. Not worth wasting time on. Fair enough. There we go. Let's see. Kurt Steele, Ant-Man. Silver Server, Skipper, Scoresdale, Oswaka, and Glasgow got their bell rang with this draft. Could be a lot of truth to that. So like you're saying, Silver Server. I mean, we all get it. There are going to be some real good players that don't make the 53-man roster. Scoresdale, man, he's going into what, year 4? Or is it year 3? I don't remember off the top of my noggin. As far as Yodi, I like him. I think he's sound depth. The problem is, the younger guys, a little bit cheaper, a little bit more upside potential. Could he knock somebody out? Skipper, we've already talked about on the show. I do think Manu is going to push him, and I will not be surprised, unfortunately, if Giovanni Manu replaces Dan Skipper on the depth chart. Glasgow, hey, Father Time's undefeated. He's been a great NFL player. Last year, maybe it was just that he got moved over to the right guard spot versus the left guard spot versus the right guard spot. Or it could just be that, he's just no longer who he once was. He's probably a sound backup. I just wonder if you can have the luxury of having him as a backup. We'll wait and see. Silver Server, Pierce Sargent laughing. Kerry, Manu isn't leaving after all that time developing. Yeah, I don't see him leaving. I think he's going to be one of the primary backups. Pierce Silver, it's a reflex now. There you go. Silver, play Manu at tight end. I think you could on some blocking packages, short down packages, etc. But you saw Skipper do the same thing, right? Pierce Silver, don't you mean defensive end? We'll find out. Dynamite. It's definitely open spots on this dang roster. Probably is. I think there's just going to be a lot of competition at a couple of different areas of concern or couple areas of note. How about that? Silver, Pierce Sargent, defensive end, question mark. What about it? Sorry, maybe I missed something that or forgot already. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Pierce, Silver, I was joking. Having Manu try rushing the passer. He's a big bad boy. Maybe he could do it. James, Dan Skipper will be released at some point during or before training camp. The only thing I can say to your point, James, if he is beat out, just out of respect to his time here in Detroit, I hope they do it sooner versus later, just so he has more time or opportunity to latch on a team. Same with a couple of the other veterans, man. Just because we all get it. The further you get into the season, training camp, whatever, it just becomes harder. Silver, okay, exclamation points, got it, Pierce. Carey, Scoresdale, Glasgow, Martin, Oswaka, in that order. Hot seat, could be true. Dynamite, if Brad wastes another third-round pick, he should be fired. We'll see what shakes out. Silver, Manu at defensive end, you meant, correct. Tom, Detroit Lions could definitely better chance under Morton because I think game will come more into the game because of the fact of having cones. All right, we'll go with that, Tom. I like the way you're thinking. Pierce, Silver, yep, Manu at defensive end. Michigan Panther Pride, good morning all. Back at you, Dynamite. If Manu or the quarterback get cut, we'll find out, and let's hope they don't. It's Phil, but Skipper is an offensive weapon. Yes, he is. He plays all the positions on the interior. He gives you more effort than most players. He is a Lion. Probably one of the best things going for Dan Skipper is going to be the fact he can play the big tight end. He can play tackle. He can play guard. I don't think he can play center, but he does give you a lot of Swiss Army knife flexibility. Silver, Pierce. He does not have the speed to go around, or it could be a total power move. You just have to overwhelm the offensive tackle. Yeah, maybe it could be a defensive tackle. Quito, Wingo going to play more edge? Could be. I've been speculating that. Same with Levi Onwuzurike, so I think you could be spot on with that. Phil, this show is more interactive than any. The format is unique. Most host is above all. Hey, I'll take that, and thank you for that. Thank you very much. As always, Phil. JDC getting real in the D. Go Lions. Back at you. Bo, passing down rushing specialist, perhaps from the linebacker position. If you're talking about Giovanni Manu, wouldn't that be something? Silver, calm down, Dolo. You wish Brad Holmes would get out of Detroit. Yeah, some people, not everybody likes everybody. How about that? Phil, I signed in very early. It's the original guitar replacement. Okay. And, I know you love working on those guitars. Bo, Phil, any new guitar projects? We'll find out. Carrie, PT today, happy trails. Go have some fun, hopefully. JDC, Lambeau Field, home of the Lamers, 100%. Phil, new guitar projects every week. Want to buy one? I sell them cheap to friends. Hey, let them know. Phil, I'm getting pretty good at building them. Yeah, you did a fine job with the Do Crew guitar, by the way. Miles Margaret, yay, Roar Lines UK, 100%. Anthony does a great job. Miles Margaret, see you, Ant. Bo, I appreciate the idea, Phil. Budget constraints, though. It happens. Brent, what do you got? Cheers, Anthony. The Brit with grit. Yes, he is. Michigan Panther Pride. I stand with Goff. Bo, bye, Anthony. Phil, I get it. Don't build or sell them. Labor of love, and I get to play them. Hey, that's it. That's a win-win situation. Miles Margaret, Roar Lions UK, 100%. Dave, go Bears. Very good. Keith, Carrie, thank you. Yes. Thinking positive is very important to beat cancer or any illness. Thank you. 100%, my friend. As always, the Do Crew is cheering you on and supporting you. Silver, Morton will be less of a wizard, less trickery, and more bombs. That might be true. David, Bali Vacation was awesome. Bali Vacation was awesome. That's good to hear. I'm glad you had a good time. Dolomite, what do you got? Silver, shut it. I'm just being 100% real. If Hendon Hooker doesn't play and Manu cut, that would be a wasted pick. It would be, man, but not every pick's going to make it. So think positive. At least that's what I try to do. Both Phil, I build ARs. James, hit the like. Yes, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit all the buttons if you would. Thomas, Jared Goff is the best quarterback out there. All you other people say that he ain't are crazy. Hey, sometimes you got to be a little crazy, right? Phil, love to Jen and Bobby, 100%. Frank the Tank, it's not going to be perfect season. Play ups and downs, real life, go Lions. Yeah. Nothing's going to go in a straight line one or the other way. What I can say is we're all probably bracing for a pretty good season for the Detroit Lions. Phil, awesome. Then you know how I feel about my projects. There you go. Hookadoo. I like that, Bo Booth. Phil, I hated up down at football practice. Yeah, up downs back in the day. Yes, they would gas you pretty quick. Server, Dola Dynamite. I know I mess around you here. Yes, yeah, I'm just messing around. Tim Reaper, happy Taco Tuesday. Ooh, good call there. Frank the Tank, Detroit Lions will not get a pass rush specialist. They already have one. His name is Aiden Hutchinson. There you go. Bo, I knew a lady named Dynamite. There you go. Phil, can you imagine Big Skip at Hedge? Ooh, coming after you, downhill. Dynamite, let's see. Surfer, you wouldn't think that's a wasted pick, though? We'll find out. Mary, good show this morning. Have a good day. Same to you, Mary. Have a blessed day. Trim Reaper, hit the like button. Woo! Thank you for that. Thanks, Trim. Frank the Tank, they want players that set the end if you played. Yeah, they want to protect they want to stop the run first, get to the quarterback second, at least in my opinion. Dynamite, Bo, you ever meet one 6'3", 270 pounds? We'll find out. Server. Only Dolo, take that lion skin off the bear fur. All right. Frank the Tank, hold the fort. Make sure the running back quarterback does not get outside. Bring those players inside so the linebackers can eat. I'll go with that. I hate the Bears. Hey, don't we all? Don't we all? Keith, David, laughing out loud. The Bears stink. Laughing out loud. Come back in 10 years when you start winning 8 games. Hey, you got 8 games, man. Maybe it'll be one than the year before. Let's see. James, I hope Tyreek Williams can develop a pass rush. Me too, man. He's got the wheels for it. JDC, the Bears, monsters of the Midway. 100% true. Phil, early exit was a coaching failure. I would agree with that a lot. And not that we all don't get, hey, the defense was beat up and everything, but I do think there's a lot of fault to be had with the coaching in that game. But, you know, hey, nobody's perfect all the time. I'm going to defend coaches. I also going to say I think maybe a little checked out. Hookadoo, Bobo, did you accidentally call her by your ex-girlfriend's name? We'll find out. Rob, the Bears don't even like themselves. That could be true. Maybe they need therapy. Bo, not that one Hookadoo. Benjamin, the problem this season is the schedule. Most games against good offenses and defenses. I wouldn't be surprised with 9 wins, but a better playoff showing. Hey, I think if we just do that in the playoffs, we're all going to be happy fans. Frank, think, come on, man. After all this time, paying attention to the team. If you still can't get it, though, reason why we lost the playoff game was not because of lack of pass rush. Fair enough. Dynamite, I hate Bears, Minnesota, Green Bay, Seahawks, Washington. Hate them all, man. If they're playing against us, I hate them. JTC, happy trails. Go Lions victory. Back at you. Server. Dolo Dynamite, Manu, not wasted. Needed time to learn. Say something at midseason for that. Hooker, question mark. He was hope maybe trade material. Slow learner, apparently. We shall see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if he's learned slow or not, just because we haven't really seen him do much. Keith, Trim Reaper, yes, I'm having tacos today on Tuesday. There you go. Enjoy them. Any more? Bill, what can you do with an antique 4-strip banjo? We'll find out for Phil, I think you mean. Let's see. Michigan Panther Pride, one more home game for the Panthers. I'd love to have as many supporters of the Duke crew there as possible. Find out, man. Maybe we can. Greg Tate does not understand how the Detroit Lions play football and what they want to do. It's not about the glory and scoring the goals and scoring touchdowns. Fair enough. Dynamite. Surfer, I said he was cut. It's a waste. All right. Miss Emily, Skip really elevated his game last year. I would agree with that. Played his best ball, found a way to give more. You know, to your point, when he was asked to take over for Taylor Decker for whatever was a game or two, I actually thought he played pretty dang well. I think he far superseded expectations. Trim Reaper, don't forget the hot sauce. Never forget the hot sauce, my friend. Dynamite, I like Hooker and Manu. I hope they both supersede expectations. Walt, made a live show. Woo! You know what I was going to say when I saw your comment earlier? It's been a hot minute since I've seen you. So, hey, thanks for making it on in this morning. Hookadoo. Happy trails, dude, crew. Road Loud, Detroit, 100%. Good to see you, my friend. Have a great day. Michigan Panther Pride. Great show as always. Dan, keep doing your thing. Hey, you keep doing your thing too, man. You do a great job. All right, guys, I'm going to check on out of here. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you would be so kind before leaving, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share and copy the paste button, hit all the buttons, hit the button for the button for the button. Take care. Be a good human being. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.